Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Laps Down podcast. And this is a very special episode. This is the kickoff of season 2 of Laps Down. I know you guys are thinking, like, wait, there was a season 1? And yeah, there was.
Yeah, there was.
It was like, we just started making a podcast, like, after IndyCar had completely finished racing, after NASCAR was already in playoffs, and F1 was basically done. But we wanted, like, a good separation between 2024 racing and 2025 racing. And 2025 racing is kicking off, so this is the beginning of season 2. What are you looking forward to in season 2 of Laps Down, MJ?
I'm looking forward to actually being able to cover IndyCar as it happens. Because we
That's
talk a lot
so
about
crazy.
it, but we've never watched a race and then told you guys about it.
Yeah, a lot of people, I actually was talking to some people that listened to the podcast in person this weekend. MJ was not at Rolex with me, but you guys might have seen me. And some people were saying, oh, I didn't realize that you guys weren't around at all during the IndyCar season. It feels like your guys' podcast has been around for a while now. And I was like, yeah, no, literally you came back from Nashville. And you're like, what if we started a podcast?
Yeah, true.
So that would be very fun to talk about IndyCar, like actual races on our podcast about IndyCar. That'd be really fun.
It would be cool.
I am looking forward to probably people leaving us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, or subscribing to our YouTube, or following us at @LapsDownPod on Instagram or TikTok. That's one of the things I'm probably looking forward to. Yeah, I'm pretty good. I'm getting pretty good at this self-plug thing, guys. I bet you guys didn't think that was the direction that was going.
So sneaky.
Yeah. I also am looking forward to talking about a full season of NASCAR, actually. I think that will be very fun. I think that our love for NASCAR has grown fonder by the day. And I think that you and
Absolutely.
we find ourselves talking about NASCAR more than... If you would have told me a year ago I was talking about NASCAR probably ever, I'd be like, I'm going to need more context. But here we are. And I think you and I are just so excited for the NASCAR season to start. And I love IndyCar as well, but I didn't want to steal yours. We do still love F1, believe it or not, guys. It's just that, like, the F1 stuff comes naturally to me. That's what I started with, and that's what I know the most about. But, like, sometimes I surprise myself with how much I love NASCAR and IndyCar. Like, I'm so excited. So season 2, welcome, everybody. We have a fun agenda today. We have some news to cover that we'll do first. And then later on in the episode, we actually asked you guys questions that you wanted to know about NASCAR, because we have a lot of people who don't watch NASCAR and want to get into it. And we're going to do our best to answer those questions. So stay tuned if you want to, A, hear the answers to the questions you might have asked, or B, you already know NASCAR and you're like, what the hell are these girls going to say to these questions? Anyway, either way, it could be fun. You know what I mean? So just stay tuned. But let's start with some news. F1 news. I don't know if you were, like, on Instagram at all in the last, like, 2 weeks-ish or something, but there was, while we were on break, a little something with Lewis Hamilton. I don't think it was made nearly as big of a deal as it should have, that he is now a Ferrari driver. What are your thoughts on the social media hubbub?
Yeah, no, it did kind of fly under the radar, so I'm really proud of us for being able to pick it up. But he has officially donned the Ferrari red, the scarlet, ? And everyone lost their minds.
Lost their shit, yeah.
The amount of Instagram stories I had to click through that all just had that same picture. People who I have never seen post before, it was just like Lewis Hamilton in the Ferrari suit. And you know what?
Do you think that Lewis Hamilton bought bots? Maybe he bought bots to, like, repost the picture to, like, hype it up, because he was nervous nobody would care. So he was like, okay, I have the money. We need the same bots that argue about, like, the NASCAR playoff system.
The NASCAR.
That terrorize the France family. We need to go ahead and take those bots and put them towards this Ferrari announcement. Maybe that's it.
I wouldn't count it out. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I liked, okay, I will say he does have a way of doing things that no other driver can pull off. Like, the picture of him in, like, the black cape, like, trench coat in front of the, like, building with, like, just the old Ferrari car, like nothing overtly F1 about it, but it was like just really beautiful, like Italian elegance. Like it was kind of something that it made me realize like Lewis Hamilton has a style out of this world compared to other F1 drivers. Like these motherfuckers would have pulled up in like a Puma Ferrari t-shirt and been like, what's up, first day at work? And then like Lewis like does it with such a pizzazz that it's actually kind of awe-inspiring, even as somebody who's not like a huge like T-Bell H person. The picture of him in the racing suit though, I did not get the same level of aura from it because of just the fact of like it wasn't like it was like, okay, now we're just talking F1. It wasn't like sexy, cool Italian, like hot model vibes. It was like, oh, okay, yeah, I forgot. We were just talking about F1. And then also the HP logo. I was like,
it's so bad.
Nobody can pull it off. It's official now. Mm-hmm. Like literally there's not a driver on the grid that can make that look cool. I feel so bad for that man.
Yeah, it's not a vibe. It's not a vibe. Also, yeah, that picture, it didn't hit like the way the first picture did. He was just like leaning back up against the wall with like his leg propped up. It was very like senior photo pose.
Yeah.
No shade. I do kind of wish that he would have posted that one first, because I feel like him standing like in front of the Ferrari isn't it the house in Maranello?
Yeah, Maranello.
Like
I wish I knew Ferrari things. Yeah.
I feel really bad. I almost said it in the group chat the other day where I was going to be like, hey, is anyone here a fan of Ferrari and can tell me like the background of this house? Because I'm so at the back of the grid with Williams that I don't know anything about any other team, which is probably a shame.
MJ's like, wait a minute, you guys can afford a house and a factory?
You guys have a house and we don't even have a third chassis. Crazy.
Wait, somebody... On the same note, Carlos posted his first day at Williams, and everybody in the comments is like, why does Williams look like a community college? Like the front of Williams.
It does. It looked like my community college that I went to, and it was the same colors and everything. And the way that they all take that same picture, and it's like, that was the last time we ever saw, like, they were posting Latifi's, they were posting Logan Sargent's. It's all the same thing. I was like, this is
not a brag.
Daunting.
Yeah,
no,
it's a threat.
Alarming. Yeah.
Wait, no, like the way they posted that. First of all, Carlos looked like he's aged 100 years since he
did
joined
not
this
look
team.
well.
Second of all, he looked like he's about to walk into community college. It's like a first day of school, like about to go take my remedial math class at community college. Like that was the energy of that picture. And I was like, damn, Williams has no aura comparison to Ferrari. I do have a question though with the Ferrari thing. Bringing up the house, the Maranello house. I'm so sorry to the people that are Ferrari fans listening to this.
I'm so sorry.
We respect
you from a distance.
We respect you. We're just not part of the club. What do you think about the like numerology that they were like full blown like playing into the social media team? There was like a lot of it going on. People were like, "There's 7 windows in one door. That means he's gonna like win his 8th." And then they did the clock thing where it was like 16:44, and then the seconds like past the 55. I was like, okay, fuck Carlos then. Numerology, using numerology to tell Carlos to fuck off.
To go fuck himself. I don't know. I think it's a little. Well, yeah. But, like, that's not what we were wondering. We're just kind of wondering if the social media is a little cheesy. I know a lot of people, maybe I need to do a deeper dive into it. A lot of people are really big fans, but I do kind of feel like it is like a racing team. Like, this is just F1. It's not like they're releasing anything. They're not Taylor Swift.
I was literally about to say, this is how I feel when Taylor Swift fans start, like, decoding shit, and I was like, y'all just let me know when the album's coming out. You know what I mean? Like, I'll leave that to you guys. Like, there's people, like, fucking 7 stories deep into, like, some numerology shit with, like, Taylor Swift's album releases, and I'm just like, hey, when she announces it, I'll, like, know then, I guess.
Let me know.
But it's not my puzzle to figure out.
No, I'm not the target audience for that. But, like, once again, so happy for the Ferrari fans. I'm so glad that...
I think, and Lewis like Lewis seems to have like a better, like a really big energy coming into this. Like he seemed really hype about the testing. He seems really hype about the fan base. Obviously seems hype about living his call me by your name Italian summer dream model vibe. I don't know. Like, he's like got like, okay, the filter on the photo was like very Call Me By Your Name.
I know exactly what you're. Yeah, no, I get
it. Don't read too much into it, guys. But I also have another question for you that I saw. This is all like people just shit talking on the internet. I don't even know if this is like real life. People actually think this. But what do you think about people being like, Ferrari is like leaving Charles behind? Like, they're not giving him any attention. Like, everything's all about Lewis now.
Because of the social... That's the same... Okay, we made fun of them when they did this. We made fun of the McLaren girlies, the Lando girlies, when they did this earlier. When they were like, oh, I noticed they posted something on Oscar's birthday, but they didn't on Lando. Like, you're doing the same shit. It's just social media right now. Like, if they forget him, like, they don't physically put Charles in a car, we can be like, they're leaving him behind. But, like, because he's not in the Instagram post, like, Charles is fine. He's fine.
Wait, now that you mention it, though, that is something I can see happening, is they're like, fuck, I knew we forgot something. We forgot Charles's tires. Guys, we forgot to bring his tires. Can we find some more in Lewis's garage? We don't want to take any from Lewis, though. Okay, no. Charles, can you make it work with just the set you have? Can you make that work?
There's only 3 tires, Charles. You think you can make that work? And they're slicks. So
good luck out there, buddy. But yeah, I just thought that was funny. This is like a very interesting discourse. I think we're talking about like that with the Ferrari. I think we could say the same thing for the Williams. Has anybody checked on Alex? Does Williams know they have another driver? Like, no. You go on their social media and they're like, Carlos! And it's like, there's another one.
Is here. Yeah. Correct.
Mm-hmm. I think that's part of, maybe it's everybody's just like afraid of drivers feeling like the older sibling when like the baby comes. You know what I mean? And it's like all the attention goes to the new... You know, but you'll still get the same love as the older sibling.
I can't imagine they would care. I can't imagine Alex Albon is like, fuck, Williams just posted another post. I'm not in it, which means another week of people just like not knowing. He's like, in the past month.
The fifth post. If it's a 6, that's 2 whole rows on Instagram. That is out of line.
He's like, I'm not even in the grid anymore. Like, you open up the page, I'm not even on the grid. Like, literally.
I'm literally not on the grid either because, once again, you guys fucked with my car.
You gave my car to Carlos? You gave my car to Carlos, and I didn't even crash my car. He didn't even crash his car. You just decided to give it to him.
You gave him 2, and you said, pick whichever one, and we'll save the other one for later.
Why do both of these cars always have a 55 on them? Yeah.
Yeah, he's not on the Instagram grid or the actual grid. Well, I thought that was so funny. Everybody was talking about the Lewis news, and I was like, of course we're on break, and we can't do an entire episode just on Lewis's Ferrari post. What else? FIA hates us, and they hate their drivers, and they hate everything about the sport, and so they do everything in their power to ruin it. I'm going to be honest, I don't know too much about the rules because I didn't feel like reading anything Mohammed bin Salim had written because I hate that man. But the gist I got is that if you cuss, they'll kill you. No, I was kidding. But like,
correct.
That's like kind of the the energy. If you cuss, they'll kill you. If you say anything bad about MBS, they'll kill you twice. And if you get too many penalty points, I don't know. I think it's if you get too many penalty points, something about a month-long ban. And I was like, do not tempt Max with a good time.
You guys, you mean a vacation for a month?
Yeah. All right. The way one race ban was already not a problem for Kevin Magnussen. Like, he literally was like, have so much fun out there, Ali Behrman. You guys are gonna have a great time. He did not care. So I guess they were maybe like, we gotta make it more severe, but it's like, okay, unless you're competing for a driver's championship, it's like, I don't think you would care. I also think, is it bad that I don't give a shit if a driver gets a bunch of penalty points? If they serve their time penalties, if they do that sort of stuff, it's already impacting the result of their race. They've already been punished. Mm-hmm. They've already been punished. And I understand needing to have a limit and extent of, this person is dangerous. Maybe there was times where Kevin Magnussen was a danger to society. But, I have a short-term memory, and I kind of, at the time he got the ban, kind of forgot about that part of his life, and I had moved on, and I think we should all move on. When do you get your record expunged? When do we allow for forgiveness? When do we allow for growth?
When do we? Huh? Yeah, when do we start giving these drivers grace? Forget about giving them helmets and karting lessons. Give them a little bit of grace and forgiveness.
I don't know. I think I've been hanging out with you too long, because like maybe at one point I would have cared about this, but now I'm like, I thought they were racing. And like in my head I go, yeah, that's what MJ would say. Yeah, I just like, I don't give a shit that they have a bunch of penalty points. Don't ban them at all. Just give them a fucking time penalty, ruin their race for them. Do whatever the fuck you did to Lando at that one race where you made him do like a drive-through penalty. Like, just absolutely destroy their race. They'll live. They'll like learn their lesson, or they won't. I don't care. I think they should do things up to the extent of safety being harmed for the sake of good racing. Sorry. Today, at the Rolex race, I saw a driver put his arm out a window and flip somebody off while driving.
Yeah.
And I didn't go, oh wow, that's unsafe. I went, that was so fucking sick. That guy, give him a raise.
You said, hell yeah. And then an eagle screeched behind you.
Yeah, like, I think like Max is a great example of, he takes penalty points and it doesn't matter because he's so fucking good. He can serve his 10-second penalty and still win the Drivers' Championship. And if he can't, then he won't. That's the penalty then. I don't care. And neither does he. Why are we banning them for races? That's so stupid.
Yeah, I don't really.
And the cussing.
That's just like, it's hard to even have like a conversation about it because it's so illogical. Like all you can do is complain. Like it's so far past anything necessary in a sport. Like, swearing isn't an issue. Swearing over the radios, it's not an issue. Also, you guys, like, control... Is it for the radios, or is it just for, like, in the press conferences?
I think the main problem is, like, the press conferences and stuff. And part of me, I believe that it's the same as other sports, where it's like, okay, in NFL, you have, like, these stupid rules that everybody hates about, like, celebrations. And it's like, oh, if you celebrate too cool, like, we'll fine you or whatever. But the thing is, like... Cool. Yeah. And I say that it's too cool because guess what they always post on social media? The super sick celebrations that get people fined. Guess what the F1 account always posts on social media? Max coming into the press conferences and being like, I don't give a fuck about any of this, and then leaving. Because that's cool. I don't believe them when they say it's an issue. I don't believe you. I think you love it.
It's not an issue.
I think you are actually just looking to make more money, and this is like a weird thing you've chosen to do that with. And maybe I wouldn't even give a fuck about the money, because other sports fine their athletes all the time. If you would just tell me what the fuck the money goes towards. And that's all the driver union was asking for, and that's all we've never been told. MBS, get on the podcast and tell me what the fuck the money's for.
And where's the money going? I do kind of believe that he makes all of these rules just because... like, the driver swearing hurts his feelings. And, like, the driver's talking against the stewards and whatever. It just, like, hurts his feelings a lot. Like, it really hurts his feelings. And so he's like, maybe if I find them, they'll be nice to me.
I think he's just gotta find a therapist, a good one, fast.
Oh, yeah.
He, like, wants so badly for these drivers to respect him. And they just don't in any capacity. They actually fucking hate him. And it bothers him so much that he just digs the hole deeper and deeper and deeper. And then they just end up, like, slapping his rules right back in his face and cussing even more. And I do love how everybody on social media, it's like, they can't throw all of them in jail. Like, they should all just start cussing. Like, I love how, like, that's how we, as social media users, think collective action works. Is, like, the area 51, like, they can't catch all of us. Like, let's just all... You know what I mean?
It's just... Let them all say fuck at once. Let's see what happens. He can't catch them all.
He won't even know, like, what Mike exactly said fuck. He can't even prove who said it.
He can't
if
even...
they say it all at once.
Pull the plug on any of the microphones. Because they're all saying it. Genius.
Could you imagine them all, like, practicing saying fucking
For some reason, it's all in, like, different tones. So it's, like, harmonizing. And we're like, hey, actually, we didn't ask you to go that far. One of them has like a pitch pipe.
Yeah, George is like in the WhatsApp group, like, meet up back after the race today. Everybody meet up back. We got rehearsal. He's looking down hallways and shit to make sure nobody sees them all meeting up. He's like, all right, guys, we got something really serious going on. We gotta say fuck way more.
We gotta start saying fuck.
What do you think, what cuss word do you think fits each driver? Maybe not each of them, but like, I think fuck is like specifically to Max. Like, he gives fuck vibe. But like George, I'm not picturing, no cuss words are coming to mind. Like, I don't really think he would say any of them.
It's like a cuss word. Maybe he'd say ass, but like in a joking way. Like, I was just having a silly old time, and I slipped and fell on a banana peel and landed on my ass.
Yeah. And then he'd be like so shocked that he said it.
Oh, he'd go, goodness gracious, can't believe I've said that.
Yeah, that's why I think that plan would never work, guys, is that there's some drivers I just don't think that they could say a cuss word.
They would pretend, like in music concerts in elementary school when like you didn't practice, like band concerts where it's like, I don't know any of these parts, I never learned anything. That's what he would do. He just wouldn't say anything. He would just like mouth the word fuck. Like, he wouldn't actually participate.
I don't think Gabriel Bortoleto would say a cuss word.
Really? I don't know enough about him to know if he'd say a cuss word. He's like young though.
I've been looking at his like.
Love to cuss.
What's your favorite cuss word? Probably fuck. No, I was like looking at some of the content they're making for him for Steak, and I'm like, oh, he's just a sweet little guy. Okay, I don't think he would cuss. Not in like a weird way, like George. I just don't think it comes naturally to him. I think that we're missing, like, I think Kevin Magnussen was like the most creative. Like, I'll never forget "Suck My Balls, Mate." Like, that was top of mind for him. Like, he just came up with that right away. Like, it
came from the heart.
It came so easily to him. I was like, that's creative. Like, he has a vision. Like, a visionary, really.
That's why they got rid of him.
Do you think Lewis cusses? He's kind of like PR trained. Like, he's like a very like image protected type person. I'm trying to think, like, does he cuss? I can't remember times he's cussed.
Probably out of excitement. I don't think anyone is like dumb enough to like piss Lewis off. Is the thing.
Yeah, like, I bet if
like,
we
even when the Broncos play, like, even when the Broncos play, like, if they know Lewis is watching, they're like, okay, well, we can't like fuck around here. We gotta play well. Yeah. And so when he's watching, he doesn't even like swear at the TV because he's like, oh yes, beautiful.
I feel like I forget sometimes that he owns like part of the Broncos. They did that like schedule release video with Lewis Hamilton for the Broncos.
He tried ranch,
but it was all vegan. He goes, all of the food he ate in that was vegan. I was like, well, yeah, it tastes like shit garbage. Why'd you make him that? You guys picked like the most the most unvegan-fied food.
But he liked ranch, and that was really important to me, being from the Midwest. He called it ranch. I was like, hey, don't say it like that.
He said that the peach cobbler they gave him was disgusting. And I thought,
that's
peach cobbler,
crazy.
I think I could picture like a vegan peach cobbler. I think that actually, of all of these, kind of makes sense to me. So then I was like, how'd they fuck that? I need to know what the Denver Broncos were up to when they made that video. Up to something. Okay. I'm tired of talking about MBS. My blood pressure goes up when I talk about that dude. Like, fucking
okay, let's
made
move
in
on.
A lab to make me mad. I'll talk about something that delights me. Just to get me off this topic. Alex Palou fucking delights me. I love that guy. And they made the new...
him.
They made the new... Yeah, just yesterday they released the new Alex Palou Fox IndyCar commercial. I'll give you a chance to say your thoughts first.
I thought it was... I didn't like this one as much as the Joe New one, if I'm being honest.
I was so confused by the approach. Why was he kissing so many people?
That was really weird to me. Also, he's like known for being like a sneaky guy. Like, we were talking about it earlier. Like, he's always sneaking around accidents. He's always like sneaking back onto the track after being like 900 laps down.
It's worse than sneaky. I think it's actually, like, we were talking before we clicked record. We had a full conversation. I think he is a time bender. It doesn't actually make any sense. Like, he should be like 20 laps down.
Yeah.
Not referencing the name of our podcast, but maybe. during the Rolex 24, he like had some crazy like mechanical issues. He literally got put on a flatbed, towed back. They fixed his car. He went out, I'm assuming quite a bit behind, and he ended up finishing on the lead lap, just last in his class. Really on the lead lap. And it was because nobody's paying attention to him and his fucking team. Nobody pays attention to him. And then before you know it, he's back. And he does it in IndyCar. He's sneaky.
Mm-hmm.
He's sneaky.
He's very sneaky.
But this commercial,
I don't know.
They tried to make him like a womanizer?
Weird. Which he is not that. He's not that. He's just...
I don't think... Has anybody ever looked at Alex Palou, the man with, like, I think a wife and child, and been like, man, I bet he French kisses a lot of people.
That was so weird. The French kissing, the milk thing, that was weird again. Like, I get the Indy 500 and we want to talk about the milk, but, like, I don't know. I didn't like it as much, but...
Maybe is it just because, like, he's a harder character to nail down than Joseph? Like, maybe it's just, like, it's not necessarily on Fox. Like, they did make, like, a well-produced commercial. It's just the storyline was a little weird. And maybe it's because Alex is, like, hard to nail down, whereas Joseph, it's like, we get the vibes.
I'm not going to give him that much. I think
what they should have done for Alex Palou, part of what they did with Joseph, and they kind of got there, they should have just been like, this guy is inevitable. He wins, even when you don't think he should win. He comes from nowhere. He has 4 championships. He's gonna, like, continue to win more. He is, like, an unstoppable force. But then they were like, okay, can we put some weird things in there about kissing? Like, they had the idea, then they lost the plot, like, halfway through a little bit, but they came back around to it.
Yeah. I don't know. Not a huge fan. But I do believe this means that the Pato one is going to come out during the Super Bowl. But I swear to God, now after watching, like, the weird milk thing and, like, the cologne thing and then the sperm thing and then the French kissing thing, they're going to make a joke about fast hands because that Pato is known for fast hands. And I know for a fucking fact they're going to.
I don't like all the immediate things that just, came to mind.
I'm like,
I don't like the direction that...
Like, don't be, I don't know. I just kind of feel like maybe they can win me back with this last one, but I'm like, it's just kind of a little... See, it's very male gazy. Like, very, like... They're trying to, like, sex sells IndyCar, and I'm like, it's not really like that, though. Like, at all, actually.
I think the sex sells male gaze of Joseph Newgarden made total sense to me, actually, because I was like, isn't Joseph Newgarden what men, like, in a way, kind of strive to be?
Yeah.
Like,
the Captain America thing, yeah.
Yeah, he actually kind of is for the male gaze. Makes sense. Alex Palou is for the girls. Okay? He is he's a very sweet guy. He literally has a wife and kid. And, like, he's not making out with girls. Like, nobody is making out with Alex Palou.
It just didn't work. It didn't work with Alex Palou, in my opinion. My humble opinion.
But
the
unfortunately,
French kissing thing didn't work for Alex Palou.
If we're saying that Joseph is for the guys and, you know, Alex Palou is for the gals, I hate to be so binary about it, Pato, he's for everybody. He's got the sports cars, he's got the plane, he's cool. He's cool, but then, like, the girlies love Pato as well. He is, like, literally, I say sometimes, like, I literally think, like, his social media presence was curated to be, like, a male lead in a romance novel about racing. And so I'm like, they have too much to work with, and they're going to be like, actually, sex does sell. Have you guys heard of Pato Award? What if it's just, like, in the middle of the Super Bowl? It's, like, the raunchiest commercial you've ever seen. Like,
please don't.
It, like, causes, like international uproar because they're going to be like, was that even PG? Like, I feel uncomfortable after watching
Can they play that during the Super Bowl? I don't know.
What
if it's not even Pato? Now. It's fucking Roger Penske. It's a sex sells Roger Penske. That's just... I'm so sick of that, man. Watching IMSA today... Wait, sorry, I have to just... 1 second.
Go for it.
Watching it today, and fucking they had the two Porsche Penskes leading the race, and they kept cutting back to Roger, and they wouldn't let the fucking Penskes fight. Whatever. They papaya rules them. But just the amount of glazing. I even texted you. I was like, there's so much glazing going on that they're going to have to put, like, wet floor signs out. It was ridiculous. And then after the race, they had a 1 and 3 because Tom, just one of the most amazing IMSA drivers, in my personal opinion, got in between him, got second place. They interviewed him, and, like, he, like, so clearly couldn't give a fuck. Like, he so clearly could not give a fuck. He's like, I have to go. I've been here for 24 hours. I would like to go home.
He's a bad winner.
Pissed me off.
That's what makes me mad about Roger. He's a bad winner. I don't like Zach Brown, but when Zach Brown wins, motherfucker sells it, bro. He's in the pit lane. Yeah! Like, he's, like, jumping on people. He's, like, fucking losing his mind. Roger Penske has never given a fuck about a win. Well, and I know he's, like, 100 years old. But, like, give me a little fist pump at least. And maybe I would be more excited for you.
They dominate everything, so they don't have to get excited. They're so used to winning that they don't feel anything when they win. And isn't that a perfect villain? And maybe we make Roger Penske the villain for the Fox commercials. Like, we talked about that, like, the villain, the hero, and the...
It's like a very timely message. Oh. Like, the real villain is the CEO.
Is the billionaire, the 88-year-old billionaire. He's the issue. That's what Fox is saying as they're actively getting those membership. Those 80-year-old billionaires are like, we should make a commercial about how 80-year-old billionaires suck. It's just a pitch. I don't know. It's just something to chew on.
I don't know. I was just shooting the shit. Who else could they do? Like, what? Yeah, maybe it's not Pato. Maybe we've all been bamboozled. Who else would they do it on? Christian?
Rasmussen? That'd be hell yeah. Or Christian Lundgaard.
No.
Rasmussen?
Yeah.
Okay.
The one that we had a full conversation about how we are, like, actually kind of warming up to him a lot, and that we actually may be high-key rooting for him this year.
Yeah, I do. I am quite enjoying this, like, Christian. I didn't realize he had, like, a personality. I also... lovingly didn't realize he was like that good of a race car driver until I watched him in IMSA this weekend after watching him in IndyCar last year.
He was eating people up with that purple dragon.
Yeah. Rest in peace to the purple dragon.
Can I also say there is a weird sector of IMSA fans that I met this weekend that are like the Rex and Spike thing is just like a gimmick. And they're like, I guess whatever it takes to get people interested in the sport, but they like kind of view it as like a gimmick. And I was like, yes, it's delightful. It's delightful. And their merch store sold out. There's like a bajillion little kids running around here with little fucking dragon toys. It's good. I like it.
It's one of those things where like, yeah, it's a gimmick. It's working. Like you're immediately seeing the ROI. The amount of people who told me they're like, I don't know anything about IMSA, but I'm watching for Rexy, I'm watching for Spike because they're the only ones I can see. They're the only ones I know where they are. It's phenomenal. It's a gimmick and it's working incredibly well. That it's almost alarming.
So like, I guess this ties back to I'm going to tie this back to the topic at hand.
Thank you.
The Fox commercials are a little gimmicky, but I like a gimmick. I think like I am pro gimmick at times. That is the official Andrea stance. Is like, if the gimmick's good, I like it. I thought the Joseph Newgarden one was a gimmick. I thought it was like a bit ridiculous when I saw it in a bar and I just see Joseph Newgarden in a crowded bar on the screen as a little sperm. And I thought, what's going on here?
Sure.
I like it. It's a good gimmick.
I think if it works.
The Alex Palou one, I was less sold on.
But I think it makes sense that they put it in the middle if the third one is...
do you think that they were
IndyCar
like
himself?
Maybe they were like didn't even want to do one on Alex, and then they were like, "Well, you have to because he's like the reigning champion."
I did think about that. I was like, truthfully, I feel like IndyCar doesn't really advertise Alex at all.
No, and they like literally don't give a fuck about him.
But it all works for him because you never suspect him.
He's sneaky.
You're like, we've never even seen this man before, and he's won how many championships? This is all part of his plan. I'm losing my mind. He's
literally so sneaky, guys. Like, that is the branding that Lapsdown has chosen for Alex Palou. After today, I'm tired of that motherfucker. Like, with love, and I will always root for him. I actually do deeply love Alex Palou, and I don't want you guys to get it twisted, but I don't trust that man. What is he up to? And how does he bend the timeline of the world to his will? How do you go from being on a flatbed, no, a flatbed tow truck to being on the lead lap? That doesn't make sense. I'm going to rewatch the whole 24 hours and only watch his fucking car.
Watch for him.
I'm going to be like, oh, right there. That's where they jumped through time and space. Found it.
You see it in the back. It's like Phil of the future. There's like,
I'm like, you guys weren't paying attention to it. It wasn't on the broadcast, but right there. That's, yep, you can see him. Yep, found it.
You see him in the background.
Okay. I think that's all we have for news. News. Yeah, you guys definitely got your fill of news, huh? You guys feel more informed about what's going on in the world?
All 3 of our bullet points just took 2.5 hours to talk about because we couldn't stay on track.
Oh my god. It only took 40 minutes, which is perfect because that gives us plenty of time for us to do our NASCAR question and answer. So I'm going to choose the order that we go in. I control the questions.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Because I think that we can make this a fun. I think this is a good one. This is actually one that I think we've talked about how important it is of people understanding as new watchers. How do teams versus the drivers work? Is there a constructors cup or a drivers cup? What are people competing for?
That's a great question. I'm going to simplify it because it's kind of the same way in IndyCar where there's like the drivers championship and then there's also like the leader circle championship, and they just never fucking talk about the leaders championship or the leader circle. You are only really ever going to hear about like the drivers championship, the drivers points that they collect throughout the season. There is also a engine manufacturers championship. It's not really something.
Yeah, they get money and stuff for that, like the like manufacturers. I don't know. I'm less confident about that. Who gets the money? I know there's money in it.
There's money somewhere for sure. But that's like something I think as a new fan you don't really need to pay attention to. Even I feel like long-term fans, they don't super care about, or like the there's also owners championships, which is similar to IndyCar where each of the cars gets points, so like the entrance gets points, not necessarily like the drivers getting points. They do get points, but it doesn't count towards the owners championship. That's also another thing that's like not really going to be talked about until it gets to like the end of the season. The drivers championship is what you're going to hear most about, and then I'm not going to explain the playoff points because
we have an
it's
episode.
Not happening for another like 8 months. That's true. We do also have an episode where we talk about how the playoff points work, but the drivers get points for where they finish in a race, and then they also get points if they finish high enough in the stages, which are just like little intervals of the race, so many laps in the race. So there's usually 2 stages or 3 stages, but they can get points in the first 2 stages.
So, I think like it's like I feel like most of the storylines revolve around the drivers.
Drivers.
I guess that this isn't a question that anybody asked directly, but I have heard some people ask it to us. Do people root for teams or drivers in NASCAR? And I'm kind of like torn on this based on my discussion with NASCAR drivers. I'm curious, or NASCAR drivers. Yeah, I haven't talked to any NASCAR drivers. Don't know why I said that. NASCAR fans, whether or not they care about the teams themselves or whether they're just rooting for specific drivers. And I think it's like pretty mixed. I'm curious if anybody in the audience wants to comment and leave their thoughts, but I find that I personally sometimes you get lucky and all your favorite drivers are on the same team or like are associated with the same teams, but I don't think that that's the case for most fans. So if you start watching NASCAR and you just go, oh, I like these drivers, but they're on different teams, I'm under the impression that that is how a lot of people enjoy NASCAR. And it's not like in F1 where people are like married to a team. And I think, is it similar to say that for IndyCar too? I mean, I feel like in IndyCar, I just have drivers that I like. I don't really think like I've ever been like, I want this team to win. I just like have my drivers.
I feel like it's kind of like the way that I am with like Formula One. All of my drivers are gone, so I'm like still a Williams fan. I think that's kind of when you see people who are like, oh, I'm a fan of this team, like I'm a fan of Chip Ganassi, I'm a fan of Penske. It's because they've either had drivers there that are no longer there, and they like grew up rooting for that team. Yeah. I don't see people coming in and being like, okay, I'm gonna be a, if I could name a single NASCAR team,
Hendricks,
a JGR fan.
Okay.
Like, I don't think that that's how people choose. Like, I think it's more driver based, and then just as you get like Stockholm syndrome, eventually you're like, no, I'm a huge fan of Hendrick Motorsport.
You're trapped. Is it the same drivers all year, or do they shuffle around?
They do shuffle around. It's not like Formula One, where it's like you sign into a contract for the whole year, or like that's typically how it goes. There are drivers that will be like full-time entries, but some of the cars are going to switch around. You're going to see some Xfinity drivers driving in the Cup Series. You're going to see some Cup Series drivers driving in Xfinity. I don't know if you'll see Cup drivers driving in trucks. I haven't dipped into trucks at all.
Yeah.
But it changes around. But for the most part, like, you don't have to worry about having a favorite driver in the first couple of races and being like, well, never going to see that guy again.
So are there rules? This is me going off script, so if we don't know the answer to it, that's fine. We can cut it and we can search it. But isn't there like rules about when Cup drivers can go and drive in an Xfinity race? Isn't it for like newer tracks or something like that, or is it just any time? Why would they? Because like, wasn't it like in Chicago a couple years ago? Like SVG drove in the Xfinity and the Cup, and I'm always like, why would they do that? Like, just like focus on the first one. Like, why don't you just do the Cup one? Why are you doing the Xfinity one? Are they just fucking around?
That's a good question. I mean, I don't know. I guess it's because it's like the same teams. Like, he's driving for the same team. It's like their varsity and their JV. I don't know if that's a fucked up way to explain it, but because like Christopher Bell won an Xfinity race last year, so I think it's like if you have like. I don't know. Like, if you're good on a track, they're like, well, you might as well fucking win it in our Xfinity car, too. I don't know. This is me just...
No, this is fun. We have questions...
Theorizing.
For fans to know the point our questions are at. Once you get the answers to these simple questions, now we have tier 2 questions that people will answer for us in the comments, which is fun.
Yeah. I can't wait to hear.
I can't wait. No, I think that's like a fair question, though, because I've always been like, why would you want to take on 2 races in a weekend? Like, what is the benefit to doing that? And part of me is like, okay, maybe if it's like you're a driver that's like new to a track or something, you'd be like, oh, okay, I'll do it in Xfinity and like see what's going down, and then I'll do it in like the Cup race, and then it's like I have figured out the track a little bit better.
Maybe.
I don't know.
But like that wouldn't make sense for like having SVG do the road courses, because like he's obviously doing it for both because he's like fucking good. Like, he's probably the best NASCAR driver that's ever come through NASCAR before. Probably.
Yeah, probably of all time. I heard that.
Probably. I mean, that's what the streets are saying.
No, the streets that he's winning on, they're saying.
The Roval, they actually told me that. Watkins Glen told me that.
Wait, do you know how they call like Checo in Formula One? They used to always call him like King of the Streets because he won like a couple street races. Yeah, it was like a really weird like brand that they were trying to give him, because they were like, we need like something for Checo, and they're like, he's King of the Streets, like he was so good in Baku, like blah blah blah. Can we just like be like, one King of the Streets has fallen, another rises? SVG.
It's like 2 completely different series. It's his first season. Yeah, I like it. I think we should go for that. SVG, King of the Streets. That's crazy. We can't call him that.
Yeah. I just used to laugh all the time. F1 would always post these graphics, and everybody in the comments is like, who's given him this title? Like,
why are we calling him that?
We all know Checo is King of the Streets. It's like, nobody's ever said that. But okay, go off. Okay. I think... Okay, this one I was like, are you meaning this is a serious question, or are you just being mean? When do we see them make right-hand turns?
Okay, so I assumed they were being mean, but I do think before I started,
you thought you were goofing on us. You thought you were goofing on us.
But unfortunately, we're gonna go. Well, actually, I think a lot of people don't know that NASCAR does things outside of ovals.
Yeah.
To be fair, I didn't know until they were like, "Oh, they're gonna do the Roval," and I was like, "Okay, silly thing to call it an oval, the Roval." But they do. They're gonna do COTA. They're gonna do the same course that they do. Is this the same course that they do for the Mexico F1 race? The Autodromo Hermanos.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Although I think that they can make changes to it because I think the Formula E course was a little bit different than the Formula 1 course. So I think there is ways to like switch it around, but it'll be through the same area.
So they'll do some version of that. It'll be at the same, general location. They have a street race in Chicago. So for all those F1 fans who are always like, how would they race through Chicago? NASCAR's been doing it for fucking years. So if NASCAR can do it.
That was a very funny conversation when people were like, it would be impossible to do a street race in Chicago. And I'd be like...
It's like they do. What? Like they do that. Anywhoosie. Watkins Glen, as I was talking about earlier, that's where SVG is going to win this year. And then the Charlotte Roval, which is going to happen during playoffs. So, what was that?
That was me. That was me being SVG in Watkins Glen. For the audio listeners, what I was doing was I was aggressively driving in like a weird... I was making aggressive driving motions.
I just caught it in the corner of my eye, and I was like... Anyways,
Can I also say... I had people come up to us. We are known at this point for not shutting the fuck up about a Roval. So I think we need to have like a Roval limit per episode.
Hell yeah. No.
Like Roval cannot be mentioned more than X amount of times.
No. I'm going to have a Roval themed birthday party, I think. I think we need to lean into it. Like all the plates are just in the shape of the Roval.
I'm just picturing like those people on TikTok where they're like, I threw a birthday party for my daughter and nobody came, and it's like a Roval themed birthday party. It's like nobody came because everybody is on the Roval. Damn.
But yeah, so anyways, they do race on street and road courses, which might be fun for the people who are getting into NASCAR from like specifically from F1 who have never really watched ovals before. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's your introduction into it. They don't do the first oval or road course. We've said Roval too many times. All the words are blending together. Their first road course isn't until March 2nd, which is COTA. But kind of...
That's not that far. That's
kind of a chilly month for COTA. Isn't that right after... That's like the second race into the season. Third race into the season.
They're not scared, MJ, like you are.
Of the chills?
The cars aren't going to get cold. They'll put a little jacket on and they've got fine.
I forgot they have the jackets.
Mm-hmm. So that is very exciting. I actually really liked watching the like road courses. I think it's like interesting because there is some drivers who specifically talk about their weaknesses on road courses. So it is like kind of a fun wild card, especially why we love the Roval so much, me and MJ, is because they like specifically place it in a very important time in playoffs where people actually really need to do well. And then they're like, okay, now this person who's only drove ovals for most of their professional life, fuck it. Get in there, kid. Roval time. So, yeah, you might see some people that are a little rougher around the edges on road courses than maybe like an F1 driver would be, but it's all part of the fun, you know?
It's so fun.
And COTA is going to be interesting to watch because they're changing COTA this year specifically for NASCAR to make it more competitive. Because from my understanding, they used to get too spread out in the past, and so they're smushing them back together. So that might be a fun race to watch because the drivers are going to be new to the course and they're going to have no idea what the fuck's going on.
SVG has driven at COTA before in supercars, so all I'm saying is he may be one to watch during COTA. I'm just making predictions now.
I think that we are probably going to be watching SVG because you are going, like, you're like one to watch. You have like his feed only, like, on your screen, basically.
They're like, we don't even offer onboards for NASCAR. How'd you get that?
How did she fucking hack into his onboard? You're like a Disney Channel villain being like, I'm past the firewall of SVG's onboard.
We're in. Yeah.
Okay, these are some more like more like rules and regulation type questions. What are the flags in NASCAR? They're a little different than if you're an F1 fan.
Yeah, so a lot of them are similar. You've got like the red flag, yellow flag, green flag, black flag, and checkered flags. They're all going to be the same. The ones that are going to be different is the white flag, because in NASCAR it means that it's like final lap. In F1 it means that a vehicle is slow ahead. So, but it's also
just
like,
seems mean. You're like driving and it's like fucking somebody in front of you and they're just like, hey, just so you know, they kind of suck.
He's
in
like
front
really
of you.
slow. Yeah, it is kind of mean. But, and then I just wrote down a few that I think that you're going to see. I didn't write down all of them, but the few that I think you're going to see is there's a blue flag with a yellow, like, diagonal stripe, and that means the leaders are approaching the lapped car. So it's the same as, like, a blue flag in F1. The red flag with yellow stripe means that the pits are closed, which is going to happen when they're under caution. So that's also going to be an important one because NASCAR is just, it's a lot of pit strategy. And then the green checkered flag means that a stage has concluded, which we kind of talked about earlier, which are like the little mini races inside of the big race. But like for the most part, I feel like flags, it's not the same in like in F1 because like they're all so like split up in the different like road course sections. When it's an oval, it's like you can kind of see everything that's happening. So as a watcher, the flags don't seem like they matter as much.
That might be important to point out is the difference of how lapped cars are treated in F1 versus in NASCAR. In F1, if you're a lapped car, you need to get the fuck out of the way. Like, you're not in the race. You need to move. That is not how it works in NASCAR. In fact, sometimes the lapped cars are a menace to the society. Like, they are ruining somebody's race. But with love. With
Absolutely.
Peace and love.
Absolutely. I think F1 is actually the only one where the blue flag means you have to get over.
Yeah, like in IndyCar it's the same way. It's like lapped cars are doing their own race. They can do what they need to do to do their race.
That car's going to race you.
Yeah.
Even if he's 10 laps, that's Alex Palou, and he is going to race you 19 laps down.
He's trying to not make it obvious that he's about to bend the space-time continuum, so he's got to wait till you pass him, and then when the camera's not on him anymore, he's going to do it. So get out of the way. Yeah, I think that that's really important because I think a lot of people, when they watch oval races for the first time, they're like, this motherfucker, can he move? They're trying to win the race here. And it's like, nope, they're not going to move. They don't care.
Well, and not to shout out, but the motorsport enthusiast, John, kind of put this into like a good framing for me in my personal opinion. He says to like think of NASCAR races like mini endurance races, and it's like the same way in endurance racing. Like those cars are still like what we watched this weekend with like the Rolex 24. It's like the cars that are 26, like they're all still having their own race. So that's just a way to think of it. It's
how does qualifying work?
So we've kind of talked about this before. I think
on a previous episode we talked about like the new qualifying versus the old. If you're interested in what the old was, you can listen to that.
And also, well, here, I'll just explain it first because there are 4 different types of tracks. There are standard ovals, short tracks, super speedways, and then road/street courses. So things that just basically aren't round. The standard ovals, you're going to do a single lap, single round qualifying. Everyone's going to go out one time. They're going to set a time. That's that. Short tracks, they get 2 laps. It's still just 1 round though, and they're going to do the average of those 2 laps. Super speedways, you're going to get 1 lap, but it's going to be split into 2 rounds. So the top 10 fastest cars from that 1 lap are going to go on to like a shootout, and then That's how that's going to be decided, 1 through 10. And then road courses, it's going to be 2 groups, 20-minute qualifying per group, more similar to what you would see in like IndyCar or F1. But I will say, we have had this discussion, I feel like, ad nauseum at this point, that people just kind of don't watch qualifying for NASCAR.
It's very important that new watchers understand that. You do not have to watch that to get the sport.
No. And also because you're going to be dedicating so much time on Sunday to just watching a 9-hour NASCAR race. It's like, don't watch the Xfinity race. You'll be fine on Saturday. But it is important to know where everyone qualifies, because what's going to be important from that is like the pit setup, I would say. Like, obviously it matters where you're qualifying on the grid, but a lot of the races I feel like we watch were decided by having a good
various other factors.
Location. Yeah, so don't worry if you're a new fan and you're like, I don't want to watch NASCAR qualifying. I don't even know where to find it. So watch the highlights.
If you figure it out, let us know. I literally just go on Instagram after qualifying and I go, where did everybody qualify? Oh,
I just go, look,
on pole.
Christopher Bell.
That's so cool. Love that guy. Alrighty, this last question is one that we will both have an answer for. Who should I root for and why? I feel like you've been talking a lot, so I can take this a little bit. I feel like I'm very vocal on here that I really, really, really love Tyler Reddick and Bubba. So that's why when I said, like, sometimes you get lucky, your favorite drivers are on the same team. So then it's like,
blessed.
Okay, blessed. Andrea, blessed. So, like, yeah, I cheer for 2311. I also like Denny Hamlin, who's the owner of 2311, on Joe Gibbs Racing, along with Christopher Bell, who I really also enjoy. So, and they're kind of like a team partnership. Like, they both are Toyota affiliated teams. They have, I think, a technical partnership. Denny, like I said, owns 2311. That's a very confusing relationship, and if you're confused by it, just go watch Full Speed. It covers it all. Just go on Netflix.com and watch Full Speed. I could never explain it as well as Denny himself. But yeah, I think that I get pretty lucky in that way that my favorite drivers kind of have this like existing relationship amongst their teams. Although I feel like we both kind of have a nauseating amount of NASCAR drivers that we root for, which is actually just fun because it's like a lot of the time we're pretty happy with the outcome. I also, like, I don't hate Joey Logano. I think he's very nerdy in, like, a cute way of, like, he's just, like, the glasses. I think it's the glasses. I think the Lab Rats feature, he was in an episode of Lab Rats. I think the glasses. And I also think it's, like, there's something so funny to me about how people hate him so much. And yet he's, like, extremely marketable for NASCAR, and, like, he, like, is very successful, and I am assuming he's a very rich guy, and he seems to not let it bother him so much. And then people go, you shouldn't have won. He goes, okay, well, I did, so fuck off. And I think
very
that's
similar
a very
to Joseph
fun
Newgarden.
Yeah, it's like an energy that I don't hate. It's a villain that I think is fun. I think Denny and Joey both are very hated people in NASCAR by lots, and it's because they're very entertaining villains, and I will always find the villain fun. So sorry if anybody was offended by me saying that I like Denny and Joey Logano in the same spiel. I know a lot of you guys are thinking about unsubscribing, but like, don't worry, I don't
do it.
Talk about it's not like I talk about it that much, you know. But
it's not like we have a song.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no, not at all. That would be so weird. I will say, though, MJ's going to mention some people in hers that I also root for. So, like, when I say we root for a lot of people, we root for a lot of people. I actually feel bad for the people we don't root for because I'm like, I'm rooting for like 10 drivers, and unfortunately you didn't make the cut. Like, that's
You're not
really
up
sad.
there.
You're not doing enough to win me over. But I'll let MJ go.
Yeah, I'm also a Bubba Wallace fan. I like a purple race car. We've talked about the Tootsies paint scheme. So I do root for Daniel Suarez simply because he drove the purple race car. He's also he's very, like, personable. I think he's always kind of smiling. I like him. Big fan of SVG. I don't know if I've mentioned that. This is going to be his first year in the Cup Series. Oh, okay, well, just give me a second. I'll talk about it. Shane, this is his first year in Cup cars, which is really exciting.
Not you breaking out the first name.
Yeah, Shane. Yeah. No. Yeah.
Most call him SVG.
I don't know. That's what the S stands for. Yeah, just Shane. He's just Shane to me.
His name is Shane, not SVG. That's not his actual name. Is Shane. It's his initials.
Oh, yeah. Shane Van Gisbergen. Gisbergen. I'm literally so used to calling him SVG. But this is his first year in the Cup Series. He previously did V8 supercars in Australia with Scotty Mack, who is an IndyCar driver, and I just adore supercars. And so when I heard that he was going to get a seat, I said, oh my god, that is he also drives the Wendy's car. There's just so many reasons to like him.
We love the Wendy's livery.
We love the Wendy's car. He's also driving the Red Bull. He's going to be driving in Coda.
I think that is so cool.
It is super cool. Very, very cool. So I cheer for him. I'm also a Denny Hamlin apologist. He was one of the first drivers that I kind of got into the sport with. So, but like, I understand why people don't like him. Who else do I like? Is that it? Oh, Christopher Bell, obviously, too. Mm-hmm. He's going to win this year. Win it all.
Yeah, we've already put in our bets.
Yeah, we've already decided that. Ryan Blaney, he's a good one.
Yeah, we have like a weird relationship with Ryan Blaney because it's like we want to break him out of there.
We got to get him out of Penske.
Yeah, we have like a weird thing where it's like we really like him, but like it's against me and MJ's nature to say anything nice about Penske. Yeah. But like we like the drivers. It's just like, why are you guys in there? You know what I mean? Like, get out of there. Mm-hmm. Only drivers we don't like should be driving for Penske. That's how that should work. For our sanity.
No, I agree. I completely agree. It'd be easier to cheer against Penske. They know what they're doing. Penske knows what he's doing.
Yeah, they pick such charming people. God. He's so good at his job. Why is Roger like this?
Freaking Roger. But yeah, we just kind of like we have like a whole roster of NASCAR drivers that we're rooting for. But I highly recommend, because like I feel like the drivers I liked when I first started watching NASCAR, I like don't super care about anymore. So you just kind of got to get in the groove. You got to kind of see who's willing to do like, I mean, I know some people will choose a driver just because they're like good on the racetrack. Not me. I always try to look A, at the back of the grid, and then B, at whoever's being like silly on social media, who's willing to do like all of the like track. Who's the guy who walks down the track and like talks to them in NASCAR?
Grid walk? Talking stuff?
Yeah, but I don't know what his name is. Maybe that's mean. But you just gotta get in there. You gotta get into NASCAR, and then your favorite will come to you.
Yeah, I think the easiest way to find a favorite driver is to like you watch races, and then there's something that they do that wins you over. Like I was always kind of like indifferent to Christopher Bell. But then in Martinsville, I realized that there was a little voice in my head that has always been rooting for Christopher Bell. I just never gave her a chance to shine. You know what I mean? Or it's like when I saw Joey Logano take his glasses off and put them on top of his car and then almost hit them with his water bottle and break them. I just thought that you want me to believe that this is your villain, guys? This is the guy you all hate? Or like, yeah, Denny. I think Denny really benefited from the Netflix show. I also fell in love with Bubba through like a Netflix documentary that I watched called Race. I think it's still on there. That's really good. And I also I think we both like 2311 and Trackhouse because they have a very interesting team dynamic when you compare it to like the more traditional like Hendricks or like Penske. They have like more interesting driver lineups in my opinion. They are like a little bit more fun personalities on their teams, and
I mean one of them's owned by one of them's owned by Michael Jordan and the other one's like partially owned by Pitbull, so like
it's like just fun. They have a different energy. Yeah, then like poor like Ryan Blaney having to like beg to like grow a fucking beard. It's like they don't have that like more traditionalist like team dynamic that I find kind of boring sometimes. They seem like more like hungry for wins, and they seem like they're kind of underdogs more often than the bigger name teams. But yeah, the only really way to find a favorite driver is to watch, and they choose you. You don't choose them. And you don't need them right away. I think it's like similar. I think it's similar with all motorsports. I feel like we don't talk about it enough. Like sometimes there's just somebody that you just don't even realize it, but you've been rooting for them in your head.
Yeah, you usually realize who you're rooting for when they send it into a wall, and you're like, I'm actually incredibly disappointed at this point. That's how you know.
I hate that happened to you.
That's how you figure out who you're rooting for, I think.
Or when I hear, like, the commentators say, like, Daniel Suarez is, like, in the middle, rapidly losing speed in any moment, could get hit by somebody. Why is he there? What's going on? And I go, MJ's not having a good time right now. Like, no. I know that this commentary is hurting her heart. So maybe you find your favorite driver through the pain.
Yeah. I know I do.
Yeah. Like, man, yeah, I think you find it through the pain.
Yeah.
That's the official Lapstone stance. Feel sadness for your drivers.
We like watching NASCAR, I promise.
Yeah. I really don't know if we convinced anybody for a certain team or driver, but hopefully we convinced you to at least turn on your first NASCAR race. When should they turn on their TV, MJ?
That's a fantastic question. So NASCAR season kind of starts next weekend, or this upcoming weekend. I'm trying to think.
We're posting this on Monday.
Yeah, this weekend. NASCAR
You guys got to write it on your calendars quickly.
Put it down. But it's like it's an exhibition race, so it doesn't count for points. But I do still think you should tune in. But you should tune in with the knowledge it's for fun. Different.
We're having fun.
Funsies. It's going to be chaotic from what I understand. So this is the cookout clash at Bowman Grey Stadium. And Bowman Grey Stadium, NASCAR hasn't been back there since 1971, so it's been like 50 some odd years. It's been a minute. It is a 1/4 mile asphalt flat oval, and it's also a football stadium.
Yeah, I was just about to say, you might be thinking a 1/4 mile. Is that like a high school like track that you would like run around a football stadium, like a football field's in the middle? Yeah, it is that.
Yep.
It is that.
That's exactly what it is.
And I was as startled as you probably are right now hearing that. But MJ's going to assure us that this is possible. So go for it, MJ.
Yeah, well, I don't know if I can assure that much, but I can let you know what the schedule is. So, it's so weird.
Something is happening.
Something is happening. And they've tested, like, this generation of car there. One of them. So I'm sure when they put, like, 23 of them on there, it's going to be fine. Anywhoosie. So, basically, how this race is going to be set up, they're going to have a practice, and the fastest lap for each car from the final practice determines where they're going to start in the heats. So there's going to be 4 heats. Stick with me. There's going to be 4 heats, 4 little miniature races that are going to kind of be the qualifying for the actual race. And this is all going to happen on Saturday. So, like, fastest times, the pole position, fastest overall, is going to get pole position in Heat 1. The second fastest overall is going to get pole position in Heat 2. Third fastest overall is going to get pole position in Heat 3. And it's just going to divvy themselves out from there. And these heats are going to be 25 laps each. So they're short little races. But, like, obviously it's a 1/4 mile long. So they're not going to be getting up to, like, 200 plus mile per hour. So it's more of a little bit of like a dirt race that you would see, or like bumper cars maybe, if you're familiar with those. And then something like that. And then those, oh no, I missed a part on our notes. The top 5 from each of the heats that finish top 5 are going to automatically move on to the clash. They're in the show, the big show on Sunday. Those who don't move on from the heats, they're going to have actually another qualifying. And fantastic. One more. And so this is the last chance qualifier, is going to happen on Sunday afternoon. And the top 2 finishers from this race are going to make it to the feature race in
So is this kind of like on America's Next Top Model, where a girl who got eliminated gets to come back in the house and compete for a chance to stay in the house after being eliminated?
I'm so glad you brought that up. That's actually exactly what it's like. That's exactly what it's like. So they are now back in contention for being America's Next Top Model. But it's like the cookout, and they're at a football field. So
Tyra unblurs their picture in the opening credit group picture. They're back.
Yeah, basically. But the top 2 in the last chance qualifier are going to get P21 and P22. So they're going to be at the back of the grid. And then P23, who is the very back of the grid, is literally just awarded to the person who finished highest in points in the 2024 season, but has not already qualified and made it into the feature race.
Okay, that one's stupid.
I think
I'm calling that right now.
No,
that one's dumb.
I'm gonna say that's the only one that makes sense.
I hate it.
I'm saying that makes sense because none of this makes sense, and I don't understand why they're doing it.
I don't like that it's a odd number. I think that's so stupid.
Oh.
They should have just had it so it was like, okay, if you're gonna do that, then only one person gets to come back to the America's Next Top Model house.
I think that's fair. And then they just have 22. Yeah, because now it's like they're gonna. Yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
So NASCAR, next time, consult me about these things.
That's
I watch a lot of reality TV, and I could have told you that odd numbers, people don't fuck with them.
That's a good point. And then the race is going to happen, the little cookout clash on Sunday night. It is a 200-lap race, obviously with a halftime. So they're going to stop after 100 laps, and then the musical act is going to perform. Why are you looking at me like that? What am I saying? That's not making sense. So they're going to stop after 100 laps, and there's going to be a halftime show, and then they will finish the race.
Wait, okay. I actually didn't do any research on this because I was just going to let you explain it to me like I'm 5. Yeah. But I didn't realize that was happening. Who's the musical act?
I don't know. I can look it up.
MJ, why would you not assume that was going to be my very next question?
Well, I'm sorry. I was startled by the fact that one person gets in just based off of fucking luck from last season. I was like, this is the part she's going to eat up, not the musical act.
Okay, I feel like we've been doing this show for over 90 days now. You should have known my first question was going to be, who's the musical act? I'm leaving the keyboard clicking sounds in the edit, by the way.
Oh, I don't know if it's been announced.
Do they know it's next week?
Well, it is NASCAR, so... Maybe do you think there's just not a halftime show? I'm 100% positive that there's going to be, but...
What if somebody posted that as a troll and, like, you just fell for it?
It's not out of the realm of logic that we're working with here.
All of this is dumb.
Yeah.
But, like, it's dumb, and I will be tuning in, and you should as well, okay? I say dumb with, like, all, like, love and heart. Like, I love this sport so much. But can we just go ahead and take this as a moment to bet on who we think the musical act will be?
Sure. I think it's going to be MGK.
Right. I think it's going to be Timothée Chalamet doing a Bob Dylan impression. Anyways,
actually, yeah, you're right.
Now that we've covered that.
There's just no halftime show. I don't know, guys.
How does it feel? The old people in the crowd are like, is this Bob?
Bob?
Like a Rolling Stone. That's good, and you know it's good. Don't fucking act like it's not. All right, what's next? Now that we've established it's going to stop halfway through and do a halftime show.
Yeah. Then it's going to finish, and 23 cars are going to race. It will not finish in overtime. So
what is the plan for when there's like a bajillion crashes and they have to stop their race all the time to deal with that?
What do you mean? That's just gonna happen. That's like part of it. Have you watched a clash before?
No.
That's what it is. It's, but as I said before, it's like if you've ever seen bumper cars, but like with expensive ones.
Why did anybody agree to this?
So that's something that I was trying to figure out, because it's an exhibition. It's at the beginning of the season. So it feels like it should be like a showcase. It should be like, hey guys, you should get into NASCAR. And they used to have it in LA. So I was like, okay, they're trying to get like a new crowd into NASCAR by being like, look at this silly, goofy, like shit show we can put on. It'll be entertaining.
Are these
that makes
new
sense
cars that they're crashing? They're crashing their new cars for the season?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
when continue.
It's called entertainment.
It seems like a bad idea.
Yeah, but it seems fun.
I mean, yeah, no, that's the thing. Like, I need the people listening that are like, you're trying to be telling me to watch NASCAR, but you guys are continuously just telling me how none of this makes sense. But, like, you have to trust us that it's worth it. Please,
It'll be good. It'll be fun.
I've never watched one of these. I guarantee the next episode that we film, I'm going to be hopping on this call with MJ, and I'm going to be saying, that was the most delightful thing I've seen the 25 years I've been alive.
Well, I don't know if I would go that far, but I do think you're going to have fun. I can guarantee that.
If the halftime is Timothée Chalamet doing a Bob Dylan impression, I'm already halfway there.
That's
to it being the most delightful thing.
There you go. Yeah. So, okay, I also wrote down where you can watch them. I did the work for you, guys, because you were going to have to try to figure it out yourself. I figured it out for you.
Everybody say thank you, MJ. Pause. Okay, I think they said thank you. Go ahead.
I think so, too. Practice and qualifying is going to be on at 6:10 p.m. Eastern time on FS1, and then the heat races on Saturday. And then the heat races will be at 8:30 Eastern time, also on FS1. And then all the events on Sunday are going to be on Fox. Yes?
Does FS1 stand for Fox Sports?
Yes. Yes, it does.
Yes.
That was good. I should have said that. Yeah, you're right.
Acronyms.
Fox
when
Sports.
When you say an acronym for the first time, MJ, it's extremely critical that you say what the acronym stands for, or else you are not being very beginner friendly.
That's fair. And you know what? I'm so glad you're here to keep me in check. The Sunday events are going to be on Fox at 6 p.m. The regular kind. 6 p.m. Eastern time. That's going to be your last chance qualifier. And then at 8 p.m. Eastern time, that's when the Cookout Clash happens. It's sponsored by Cookout also. Do you have Cookout where you're from?
No, I've never been. I dream of going to Cookout. Guys, I went to Waffle House for the first time this week. I had such a delightful time. I made good friends with the waitress. She loved me. She made me my... Okay, can I... Side note, Celine from Podium Pop, you guys might have met her on our episode earlier that we had with Podium Pop. She asked, can I get a patty melt with a side of a waffle? And the lady was like, no. She was like, that one doesn't exist. But then she like loved us so much that she just started making shit up. So like, I kind of made my own meal too. It was so delicious. I think next time I'm going to get Waffle House, when I get a waffle, I'm not going to get chocolate chips on it, though. I think the chocolate chips are too much. I think I just like a regular waffle. But I really want to go to Cookout. I've always wanted to go to Cookout. I think there are some in Virginia. They're just very far from where I live in Virginia. All of this is to say, no, I haven't been to a Cookout.
Okay.
But I really want to go. I really want to go. Also, there's a Cheddar's right across the street from the hotel I'm in right now, and we were supposed to go and try the Cheddar's tenders together.
I'm sorry.
But that's still on our to-do list. We have so much to do. We have to go to Cookout. We have to go to Cheddar's. Fuck. Jesus.
I haven't been to Waffle House. I would love to go to a Waffle House one day.
People were like shitting on me. People were shitting on me for never having been to a Waffle House. I was like, do you realize that Waffle House is not a thing in the Midwest? Like, why would I have gone to one?
No. You guys ever been to a fucking Culver's, dude?
I was just about to say, bitch, don't talk to me until you've had a fucking Culver's cheese curd dipped in ranch. You want to talk about culinary culture? That's mine.
Same. I'm
getting so worked up about this. I want to go to a Cookout, though, really bad. I heard you can get a burger with a side of quesadilla.
Guys, we've lost the plot.
I also heard like it tastes better when you're drunk a little bit.
Sure. What doesn't?
I've been to pizza places before, and then like I've been drunk. No. This is why people listen.
Okay, keep going.
This is why people listen. There's this pizza place I went to, and I thought it was the most delightful pizza of all time, and I took my friends there. I was like, this pizza is so good. And then I went there, and it turns out the pizza's kind of ass. I was just
not that good.
I was just drunk when I had ate it, and so I thought it was really good. I was so embarrassed. Nobody like gave me any trust in choosing a restaurant after that. They were like, that pizza place sucked. Anyways, it was just really traumatic. And also, I'll address the elephant in the room while we're wrapping up that episode for our visual watchers. Yes, I'm the same color as my shirt. I got a little sunburnt at Daytona. Okay? I got a little sunburnt. And I'm just going to give you a short little recap because I do think there are some points of interest from this weekend. Word on the street is I get mad respect from IMSA fans because I slept in the grandstands the whole night.
Impressive.
Yep.
Truly.
It was really fucking cold. I actually thought I was going to pass away. I think around 4 a.m. I was kind of like planning my last words. I was like thinking, fuck, I don't have a will. Oh, I don't have any belongings. That's okay. And it was so cold, I thought I could see the end. And then we have a good friend who was not inside the stadium, and he thought, you know what, I'll bring them some IHOP. And that's what saved me. So I was saved by one singular breakfast burrito from IHOP. And the sun came out. And then when the sun came out, the sun really came out. And she burnt me. My hands are burnt. I didn't even know you could get a sunburn on your hands. But I did.
Wow.
I'm editing a vlog. It's going to be really funny. There's lots of good stuff. We accidentally originally booked a stay at the scariest hotel I've ever seen in my entire life. And we had to emergency fix that. That'll all be in the vlog. It's very entertaining. I also met a lot of cool drivers. I also met Ruth Buscombe. That'll be in the vlog. She's a very nice lady. Okay, anything else you want to add, MJ?
No, I don't think so.
Don't look so disappointed in me.
I'm just trying to like make a little roadmap of all the things we've talked about, and it's starting to look a lot like the Roval.
And people famously love the Roval, so
that's a great point.
That's a great point. So I think it's a banger of an episode. Season 2 has officially begun, and it's going to be delightful, and we can't wait for you guys to be part of it. Thank you so much to anybody who currently listens to Laps Down, and we're excited to see who might listen to us in 2025. And maybe they're from the future, and they're listening to this episode as the first episode of Season 2. And I hope you had a good time. Fuck. God,
he's from the future.
He's so sneaky. He's so sneaky, man. How did he do that?
He's listening to us as they're fixing his car at the Daytona 24. He has traveled in time, forward in time, and then back in time, and he's still gonna make it on the lead lap.
I literally told you guys to keep an eye on him. Anyways. All right. I think that's all. Season 2 started. All right. See you guys next week where we'll be talking about the Clash. Hopefully Timothy Chalamet is there. Okay, bye. Say bye, MJ.
Bye.